subscribe if you want a big, wet, dripping cock in your ass, or if you like video games. I did want to watch this Palworld thing. I was gonna watch it because the funny thing about the Palworld thing is just like a bunch of people were making shit up just to hate on the game. It was really funny. It was really funny. The game's fun.
And everybody's giving it great reviews. But don't just take my word for it. Let's listen to Charlie talk about it.
Yeah, I've actually heard good things about this.
Reviews are in, baby. That's more.
That's all the review that you need. He hasn't even played the game yet, and he said the good reviews. Therefore, he's right. He's Jesus, you know? He's Jesus. He's Jesus. No, that's not how it
critical
works.
himself. He's
Anyway.
played the shit out of this game. He has a lot more to say about it. But there's also like every other streamer on the planet who's playing it.
Main
and then
game's
everyone
fun.
who's not a streamer also playing it. In fact, Palworld has the highest concurrent player count of any paid game in the history of Steam. Sort of. Technically, it's number 2. PUBG actually has that
Bubba
record
J.
of like 3 point something million, but then they went free to play. But it's up there, man. It is up there, along with like Cyberpunk and Elden Ring. I think it's even beaten that record. It's like at 1.5 million concurrent players. They've sold over 5 million.
This
copies
number has
for
inflated a
paid
lot since
game.
those 12 days.
It is huge.
But I didn't
But
want to.
what is the
Didn't
game?
want to see it.
At its core, it's a game where you capture pals. And you use these pals to like maybe gain experience by destroying other pals, or maybe weakening those pals to capture them and adding them to your team.
Wow, this sure
That
sounds like
anything
Pokemon.
Like Pokemon, it's because it has some similarities.
It has some similarities. When the funny thing, right? When everyone was like lying about, oh, this must be created with AI, and this must be and they completely copied the models and everything from the Pokemon things. The very first trailer, was it really only 2 years? The very first trailer for Palworld, everyone said the same thing. Oh, this is Pokemon with guns. Looks like fun. Damn. This looks just like colorful, but like without all the shading. It's so different. Yeah, the colors are way too bright. I can see why they changed it. It doesn't look exactly like this, does it? But the game is still fun. But yeah, this trailer came out like more than 2 years ago. June 5th, 2021. And people were like, oh, this game has to have been made with AI. AI wasn't really a thing back then. I'm pretty sure that was like just the very beginning of stuff like ChatGPT, like starting to be a thing. But it just goes to show that those people are just full of shit. They just wanted to find a reason to hate it. Most of them were indoctrinated in the Church of Nintendo, so they just never could accept that there was another game that uses the monster catching element. Like, yeah, from like, I guess from a creative standpoint, I can see where people are like, okay, yeah, this game is a little bit dull, a little bit uninspired. I can see that. But at the same time, right? It takes like elements from like Ark, it takes elements from Pokemon, and it slaps them together and actually does it really, really well, so that it just creates a really fun experience. And it goes to show, because so many people have bought it, and so many people have played it, and so many people have enjoyed it, you know? But yeah, this disingenuous shit of like, oh, this has to have been made with AI. It's just so pathetic. Oh, they copied the models. Oh no, just kidding. The guy that made it just hates Palworld and because it promotes animal cruelty. Oh no. But like fucking Call of Duty exists and that promotes violence, and then that's fine, but you have to lie about this? Good one, dude.
It has some similar. I'd be stupid to admit that it had no similarities. It has some similarities, but it's not a one-to-one clone, right? The game's
Of
not
course
like
it
a
isn't.
turn-based RPG. You kind of flow through and you do battles more freely, and you can also
You just
like
kind of
kill
have them.
Pokemon outright and butcher them. You can capture
Hell yeah, you can capture humans as well and have them work for you. Slavery is badass.
trainers. You can also butcher the trainers, which
The funny thing about that though is that in the game itself, the game tells you like, oh yeah, but catching people is not good. Is frowned upon, is pretty illegal. You know? The game itself kind of chastises you by having that little text description of like, listen, catching people, no.
I think is just slavery and murder. It's kind of like an adult version with some Pokemon themes in it, some elements of
Yeah,
Pokemon,
you can catch
but
them.
in a I guess
That's
a more
it.
fresh way to play it. And people are upset because they're claiming that this game has totally ripped off Pokemon, and I get why the concerns are coming out. Pokemon is a very impactful game. It's a lot of people's personalities, if I can just be blunt about it. And so
You get it. He gets it. Poketubers and Pokemon players fucking cringe, man. Play other games. Have fun. No, they have to pledge their allegiance to the billion-dollar company, and it's all fucking cringe, man.
So for a game to come up and rip it off, pisses some people off, and they've drawn some comparisons to the Palworld pals versus the Pokemon themselves, and here's one of the more blatant examples I've seen 100 times.
But yeah, highest grossing
The
IP,
Galarian
and just looks so much uglier than
being,
Palworld.
stolen by the Palworld designers, and you can judge for yourself whether it's actually stolen or maybe just slightly inspired. But people are
Yeah, I will have to say, it's like, there are some designs that are just like, oh yeah, this is clearly supposed to be that Pokemon. For example, the Cinderace one, right? It's literally just a grass Cinderace. Of course, that's like literally that. But other than that, there's nothing really. And the comparisons just go way too far. It's like an elephant versus a fucking sperm cell here. What the hell? Is this an embryo? Potentially
I
Muna's
saw
body.
this
Potentially.
thread of 100 like different pals and then Pokemon that it draws inspiration from. I will say a lot of them are a stretch, right?
Oh, a
Like,
lot
a
of
lot
them
of
are.
them is just like, hey, it is a furret-like creature. And it's like, Pokemon didn't invent a goddamn
Yeah, Pokemon didn't invent ferrets. And even if you look at it, the Pokemon design is so dull. This thing looks so much better. That's just a fact. Those are the facts.
furret. That's just we got like
My
those
favorite
creatures in
one.
our
My
world.
favorite one. I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep pausing. But my favorite one is the monkey, the grass monkey. That's like the first thing shown, like firing a gun, right? How can you forget? And it was just like, it's just like, oh, a green monkey. Nintendo has a policy on green monkeys because they make Grookey first. So monkey, they have the they have the monopoly on monkeys. That was just the thing where I was like, okay, dude, just shut up.
And they're called
Well,
animals.
why do you have to be
So I
green?
think they're basing the designs off animals. But some are like, okay, yeah, that color scheme is kind of similar. That one maybe perhaps is a little more similar.
Yeah.
And so it's basically a game of like, you know,
See, the
people
Cinderace
trying
one, yes,
to
absolutely.
Draw connections and seeing what is
1
valid, what is
trillion
not valid.
percent.
Some, I would say, a little more wishy-washy, like this one. You know, you can't really just take over all feathers or the color green.
Yeah,
Some
every leaf is
are
now a
little
Pokemon
more
thing.
concerning.
Uh-oh.
Like the models.
Uh-oh, Ludwig. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it, Ludwig. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. They literally rescaled it just to
Of a pal and a Pokemon lined up next to each other.
show,
specifically
hey,
Luxray
yeah, this is actually the thing.
and one of the pals called
But it's not.
Boltmane look pretty similar with the models and the sizes and the shapes of it. And so I get why people are bringing up.
Oh, wait,
concerns.
it's apparently it's
Let's not
also a
pretend
pal that's
that-
not even in the final release. That's fucking hilarious.
The Pokemon themselves haven't drawn inspiration.
I didn't even
from
know that because I
other
haven't played the
games.
game.
In fact, this is one of Pirate Software's arguments, is that a lot of the Pokemon we know are just creatures or inspired by creatures from Dragon Quests, like Zubat.
But then it's
inspired by
fine
Mr.
because
like
it's
Monster and
Pokemon and that's where all your
there's some other
nostalgia
ones
is,
that
right,
make
guys?
sense, like
Then
this
it's
Dragonite.
fine.
And so this
God,
is like a
Pokemon
counter
players are
argument
so
that I've seen a
fucking
lot.
cringe, man. They're so
But
fucking
the fact is,
cringe.
that the Palworld devs
But then it's
have
fine
not, at
because
this point,
Pokemon.
received any legal issues from Nintendo. And let me tell you, Nintendo will give it out if they want to give it out. They've given
They
it to
have.
me good. Nintendo left me no holes refused here.
And it ain't even just Nintendo, it's specifically the Pokemon Company, and they will do that stuff. They will do that stuff. Remember Pokemon Uranium, one of the biggest fan games created, that had no monetization. The only thing that was like is like everyone else just having like a Patreon. Like, oh, if you want to support us and our other projects, you can do that, which is completely legal. Has nothing to do with the actual, the actual product being presented and being like, yeah, so I'm gonna monetize this, but it's somebody else's IP because that's illegal. That is illegal. Also remember Pokemon Brick Bronze, but that one, of course, like it's a little bit more illegal because they had like I guess microtransactions for like a shiny charm and like some kind of booster stuff. And then it's like, yeah, okay, I could see that. But at the same time, it just proves that they will deal it out if they have the legal opportunity to do it. But they can't do that for Palworld. The only thing that they can do is say, hey, these designs look too similar, change them. That's the only thing that they can do legally. That's it. Because they don't have some kind of copyright on monster catching. Like there's so many others out there, like Koromon and Temtem and what is it? Cassette Beasts. It was recently like on a GDQ thing, so like I finally heard of it. Looks pretty fun, but it's like they don't have the monster catching aspect as a copyright on that, right? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to think that.
Okay, I got a cease and desist myself. So a game that has 1.5 million sales that is literally being marketed by everyone as Pokemon with guns. If they had any grounds to take them down,
see, and that's also something that they can't use as a ground to sue someone. Oh, it's being marketed. It's being marketed as Pokemon with guns is different from people saying that it looks like Pokemon with guns. There's a big difference there because that's not how they market it. Like, yes, people might take it that way. Doesn't mean that that's the way that it is.
Down, I think they would take that action. But because of this campaign of hey, Palworld is a ripoff, it has led to some unfortunate consequences for some of the artists on the Palworld team. And this is from the lead developer and the CEO of the company, Takuro Mizobe, who said, currently we are receiving slanderous comments against our artists, and we're seeing tweets that appear to be death threats.
Classic
and he
internet.
just said, hey, I'm the guy in charge here, so if you want to slander someone, slander me, not the artist, which, you know, that's a noble thing to say.
Noble thing to say. I do have to add to that, like, whole AI tangent thing of, like, why people thought that it was made with AI was because that CEO was a supporter of AI art and AI stuff. But again, as we saw from, like, me showing the trailer before, that was way before all the AI art stuff came out. And before that was even, like, all a thing. But it's just so easy to be like, oh yeah, well, the CEO was a supporter of AI art, and therefore everything that he touches has to be made by AI. No, that's not what that means. But yeah, that was like the main reason that people thought it was that way.
But is there any validity in it? And I would say,
no.
We can let Nintendo make that call, right? I don't think we need to defend Nintendo or white knight for Nintendo.
Don't
Nintendo,
support the multi-billion-dollar company.
Will do it for themselves if they truly think that somebody is stealing their models. And that would...
I'm sorry that I have to pause every single time, but every single time he brings up something that I'm like, oh yeah, I can fill in here. I don't know, it's like every 2 seconds I pause. I'm sorry, but it's just like... But what he says is absolutely right. It's like you don't have to defend a billion-dollar corporation. They have more than enough money to hire lawyers to do that shit for them. You posting a little angry tweet online about, well, this is clearly a Pokemon ripoff, and therefore this game should be cancelled and be thrown off the shelves of the Steam, and anyone that buys it is a fucking piece of shit. Like, no, it's not gonna do anything. They're not gonna pat you on the back. They're not gonna be like, here's a new Switch for you because you defended us. Thank you so much. They don't give a shit about what you say. You're a number. You're a sale. You're falling for it. The billion-dollar corporation does not care about you as an individual. If you defend them, they're not even gonna see it, buddy. Nothing that you do is gonna change it. If they want to have something done, they're gonna get it done. If they don't get something done, well, too bad, right? It's just that these fucking Pokemon fans have kind of deluded themselves into thinking that the current state of Pokemon is alright. Because now I'm gonna get into the state of Pokemon, right? They are feeding them garbage. They are feeding Pokemon fans garbage. And they just eat that up and they're like, oh, thank you. Now I can be excited for the next product. It's literal just consumerism. It's like, oh, consume product and get excited for next product. And it's just dog shit. And then next time, instead of dog shit, they'll give you cat shit and be like, oh, well, it's different. Delicious. Thank you, Nintendo. Thank you, Pokemon Company. Give me another. And then next time it's horseshit. And they'll still consume it. Why? Because they never ask for change. Because they always think, oh, they're doing the best they can. They're doing the best they can. But it's literally the highest grossing media franchise in the world. They make the most money. And yet somehow, some way, their game quality has just gone down. Why? Because these fucking moron fans will never ever ask for more. They're allowed to do that. You're allowed to do that. They have the resources. They are getting away with giving you the minimum, the bare minimum of the bare minimum. And you accept it. And that's stupid. It's so dumb that you just accept things for the way that they are. You're allowed to ask for more. They make the money. They can do it. But they see that what's currently happening, that they're just buying the dog shit. People are buying dog shit. They see that and it's like, oh, well, we don't have to try. We don't have to be innovative. We don't have to try something new. We don't have to be more interesting. We don't have to have a compelling story. We don't have to have good graphics. Or even okay graphics. Our game can be tied together by fucking thread and duct tape. And they'll just buy it anyway. Because Sword and Shield, of course, it has the boost from being like the first home console main series Pokemon game, instead of being a handheld console thing. It's like one of the most sold Pokemon games of all time. And it's like the worst Pokemon game ever. That's what's happening. That is what's happening with the Pokemon franchise. So when I see shit like Palworld come out, I'm happy. I'm happy that this gets so many sales. Because it drives competition. And it opens people's eyes, at least, to the fact that the game can be better. Pokemon can be better. Because I love Pokemon. I've grown up with it. I've played every single game. And every single time, I'm just like, God, I wish it was better again. I wish we could go back to Gen 5. Because that's when it was pinnacle. Gen 6 is still fine. They introduced the best mechanic in Mega Evolution, and then they took it away. But beyond there, just all went down to shit. So when stuff like Palworld comes out, I'm like, yes, okay, finally, people are gonna realize the state of Pokemon right now is really, really bad. And therefore, the Pokemon company is gonna finally realize that, and they're gonna finally have to put effort into their games again. They can't just stick to the same old garbage formula. But hey, maybe they won't, and maybe consumerism and capitalism wins again, right? And people just buy dogshit product and get excited for the next product. Because another thing that I really don't like about the current gen Pokemon is that to have the full game available to you, you need to buy 2 more DLCs. You basically have to spend $100 to get a full Pokemon game. And the game isn't even properly finished. But hey, just that's just my opinion, right? I'm sorry I went on this tangent about Pokemon. It's just I'm very passionate about it. I just think like it could be so much better. And people just refuse to ask for change, to ask for it to be better. in some kind of, I don't know, white knight bullshit of defending the billion-dollar company. Capitalism wins again, right?
Be the thing that's a crime if they were stealing or copying models. And the models are available. I'm pretty sure they've like every single fan at some point
Yes.
has ripped models from every single Pokemon game. So it would be feasible to do. And if it's found out that
Doesn't
that has
mean
happened,
that they
that'd
did.
be fucked up. That'd be fucked up, and then they should receive some repercussions, whether it's giving
But they
Nintendo
didn't,
a big
because
bag
it
of money
was
or taking their game down.
edited.
But if all that's happening is that artists are inspired by some Pokemon from Nintendo who's made like over 1,000 Pokemon that are oftentimes based off very real animals in our real world, then I don't think that should be such a big deal, and we should be flaming.
Of course not.
But unfortunately, that's not the only complaint that people are levying against Palworld. Because the other big one is that Palworld is using AI to make their game, and it is sad.
It shows the note right there has no evidence that Palworld uses AI. And you want to know why I believe that immediately? Because so many people spoke against Palworld. Because so many people are outraged by the fact. And if you know the online internet world a little bit, they'll find that shit out immediately. They will. They will find a way, find some kind of insider info. They will find a way. And to this day, they still haven't found anything like that. Anything to prove that it was built with AI. And therefore, I fully believe that it was not made with AI.
That people are falling for this AI product because it's fun and doesn't feel like AI. And now AI is going to take over everything. Books, music, art, sad day for America, sad day for the world. But there's no real evidence that the game uses
Of course
AI.
not. The only evidence is that the fucking main
evidence
CEO
is
said,
that
hey, yeah.
The lead
like AI.
developer has been very positive about AI in the past and made an AI game called AI Art Imposter that lets an AI artist draw a picture. And so that was like one of the games. And
That thing,
and
yeah.
yes, just generally has been much more positive about some of the benefits of AI rather than what is the normal sentiment amongst artists and you know, I guess general Twitter population, which is that, you know, AI is bad and it takes jobs.
Yeah, I guess you quickly want to hear what my opinions on AI are. Listen, I think AI for mundane tasks is really good. If we can automate mundane tasks so that we can spend more time doing things that actually matter more, that's really good. I think moving towards an autonomous society is good for the human race. Right? Like, people don't want to harvest crops for the umpteenth time, right? Like, that's time that could be spent doing something else. But as I said earlier in the stream, when it comes to freedom, I think AI is really bad. Because what AI art does is take away people's creative freedom. And by taking away people's creative freedom, you take away a form that people can express themselves. And that is the antithesis of what I love to have in the future. It's the antithesis of freedom. I do not want to inhibit freedom from people. Like, you can have AI do all the mundane shit in the world. You can have it do all the harvesting of crops. You can have it do all the filling the shopping carts and do all the delivery driving or whatever in the world. But just don't touch art. Just don't touch art. Just don't remove people's creative freedom. Because I think if you remove people's creative freedom, we are moving towards a more dystopian, a worse society. We are moving towards a more worse, good one. We move to a worse society by making it so that we can't express ourselves creatively anymore. Those are my opinions on AI.
From people, and we should not support AI across the board. It's kind of become a taboo word like crypto or NFTs. We don't really care about looking into the details of the project. If it has the word AI, we're pretty much out. All right. And because this person used to be very positive about AI, it's likely perhaps that Palworld has used AI to make this game.
That
come
is
to
the
life.
people's on Twitter's
There's,
argument
more
because they're
arguments that are
fucking
following
stupid.
That sort of thought. They're basically kind of just trying to frame the team in a certain way to make the argument, rather than using evidence directly from the game to make the argument, which I don't really fuck with. I don't really like. Just, hey, this person is bad based off their history, and that is why we should not support it. Versus, we have clear proof of AI being used, so we should not support it. Because I understand the moral line of not wanting to support AI games because you like humans and what humans make. But be sure. Be right. Don't just slander a character and then go off that. And then there's a couple other complaints, which is that, hey, this isn't the first time that the Palworld team has stolen before. What you're looking at is not a multiplayer Breath of the Wild. It is actually another game they made called Craftopia, which is being called out for being very similar to Breath of the Wild. It's being resurfaced now.
Hey,
made this game,
might as well
which people
call
are
out
saying
Genshin Impact.
It looks very similar to Hollow Knight.
Yeah, see, it's crazy, right? The games that they make that are very similar to other games are the games that fail. But Palworld, which is just a mishmash of different like mechanics and stuff, slapped together to make something that actually functions really well, is the game that got popular. Like, I'm a big Hollow Knight enjoyer. Hollow Knight's my favorite game. I think that game is cringe right there. This game here. I've never played it. I've also never heard of it. You know? I'm just saying. Like, that's the... Right, that was their whole, like, creative vision of, like, oh, we just take what is popular and we make it our own. Yoink and twist. Kind of funny that I say that about a Ludwig video. On Ludwig video, huh? They have YouTube content creator brain. They have YouTube creator brain. They just yoink and twist. But yeah, you know, to me it's like, whatever. It's like, but these games didn't even work out, so whatever. Oh no, they stole this, they stole that. But having more games of a certain genre is good? That's what I think.
Massively inspired or stole from Hollow Knight. So I'm just trying to give
But
you
anyway,
full
call out
context
Genshin
here
Impact if you're good.
of why we are in this situation in the first place. And it is pretty obvious to me that all stems from the fact that this game is being marketed as Pokemon with guns. Everyone's talking a bit about...
See, the difference is it's not being marketed as that. It's what the people made of it when they first saw the trailer. Again, it's different. I'm sorry, I hit my mic. It's different to say it's marketed to be this way because that's something that the devs went out of their way to do themselves. Then, oh, people think it's like this. This is the public's perception of the game. You know, there's a big difference there.
It as adult Pokemon, or the Pokemon game we've always wanted. And as a huge Pokemon
Just wait
fan
till you see
who thinks Black and White 2 are the greatest Pokemon games ever made.
Hey, what? Can you say that again, please? Can you say that again for the people in the back? Just for the people in the back.
Pokemon fan who thinks Black and White 2 are the greatest Pokemon games ever made.
W. What a good guy. He gets it. He gets it. Those are the best Pokemon games. He's right. Objectively. And if you say that's wrong, then you're cringe. I have mogul fucking mail on my side now. Hey, what can I say?
It's been a tough, fucking decade for Pokemon, man. The games have been, I think, pretty mid. Right? The Pokemon designs have sometimes been a little lackluster in recent years.
Okay, maybe I did my Pokemon spiel a little bit too early. Because now he's getting into it.
Bad. It looks like a PS2 game. But it's all we get. So we just eat it. We eat the slop that they feed us because we like Pokemon, because it was part of our childhood.
I swear, this wasn't pre-watched. He even brought up the nostalgia aspect. This wasn't pre-watched. No, I didn't. Nuh-uh. You can't prove that. It wasn't pre-watched. Its time is 14 seconds. But, you know, it's like, time is 14 seconds. But it's because I was gonna watch it, but I haven't watched. No.
That's how I feel. And I wish they would make something that's more innovative. And Palworld did that. And so I feel like it is creating a divide between people who liked Pokemon and now like this new thing because they've grown up with Pokemon and they like that sort of gameplay and the art style or whatever. And then people who just wish that that Game Freak could do it right and they don't want someone else to steal it and everyone to leave the Pokemon universe because they put so much time and effort into this thing. But unless it's proven that they've stolen designs, stolen models, used AI to generate their...
It's been 2 weeks and still no proof.
Then I really think it is enough.
Just saying.
It is as big of a problem, and maybe we could argue this is a huge problem we should talk about, but it's a different one, as Valorant taking inspiration from CSGO, right? A 5v5 tac shooter.
Yep.
A lot of similarities there. Or perhaps Genshin Impact, taking a lot of...
Not pre-watched, I swear. It's not pre-watched.
I played a fuck ton of, only up. Taking direct inspiration from the Fadian forefathers of getting over it, and basically stealing assets outright. I mean, this game...
Yeah, that was
also
literally
could end up being like a tale of what might happen to Palworld, because this game got taken down from Steam for using stolen assets from...
Yeah, no, but that's because the guy literally stole assets. He literally did that. Has never said otherwise, and was just afraid I was gonna get sued.
Community, and it got massively popular because it was really fun to play. But it eventually caught up to it, right? The dev took down the game because they couldn't get away with stealing all the assets, like this anime girl right here. And if it's found out eventually that there are any stolen assets, I think the same thing would happen. But we have to wait for it to be found out. You can't jump the gun. Having said that, fans of Palworld are not doing the devs a favor by making all the comparisons. If you watch somebody stream Palworld, they'll sometimes just call the pals Pokemon outright. They'll just say Mons, they'll say Pokemon, whatever. And there's also a mod that's been teased.
Funny thing about that mod, this really dates the video, by the way. Funny thing about that mod got taken down, but the Palworld game did not get taken down. Them's the facts. Them's the facts. The crazy thing is that the Pokemon Company released a statement about it, like, oh, we're looking into it. We're looking into it if we can take some legal action. But then how were you able... That was after they took down this mod, by the way. Like, how were you able to take down this mod? But for Palworld, you have to go through all these legal loopholes. My theory about it is that they've already done their research. They've already done all that. And they know they can't take the game down. They just did it for, I don't know, to spread some kind of news propaganda. They just said it for the sake of, like, public image. That's what I think. That's my theory about it. Because there's no way they could take out the Pokemon mod before the actual game it's in. You know? If that was the case. They've already done their research.
Already has Pokemon. That's right. The first mod pack for Palworld is already out, and it is an overhaul converting everything into Pokemon.
Yeah, so this is a problem. Now we have gone too far. Science has gone too far. I think
Science has gone too far.
One, making the game massively more popular, all the comparisons to Pokemon, and two, perhaps going to screw it over if everyone is making mods, actually stealing assets.
No, after that one mod got taken down,
right?
nothing else.
Palworld needs to probably admonish this.
Just saying.
And separate themselves from modders trying to make it Pokemon but for adults and try to form their own identity. And that's the whole story. That's where we're at.
And then you
right
take
now.
out the Steam
we're
Workshop.
Waiting for things to get proven. The devs haven't said any more. They haven't mentioned use of AI. He just said the thing about, hey, please don't flame my artist, which I get. And so if there's any updates, I'll let you know. But until then, I'm gonna play it.
He's gonna play it. And hey, would you look at that? You check it out. No updates. Man, how crazy, right? No fucking updates. But that's just like the thing. They released a statement. They just did it for publicity. Just, you know, cover their own ass. Yeah, and that's the state of Palworld. I thought it was an interesting topic to talk about because me as a previously Pokemon fan, it's just that they've released 2 generations of games that are absolutely dogshit. Like, Alola was barely allowed. And even that game wasn't even... Like even Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Like, to be honest, the fact that they had to make Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon as like the actual versions of Sun and Moon should have been a big red flag on the future state of Pokemon. I'm just gonna say it. The fact that they had to make Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, that should have been a huge red flag. But yeah, it's like every other Pokemon game after that was just absolute dog shit. Sword and Shield, Scarlet Violet, just Scarlet Violet. Like initially, it was like, oh yeah, step in the right direction. But at the same time, it's only one step, and they have to take like fucking 10 leaps to be back on track. You know, like even Gen 6 was fine. I thought Gen 6 was fine. Gen 6 is way more creative than the games beyond there.